Got this. Chat eat on a Monday. Time for the party. Hello, viewers and listeners. So pumped for this evening. Hi Nat, hi Carlos, hi Billy, hi everyone else that's here. Super excited to have you all. You're in for a treat. Hey Cass. So fun. Oh. Hi Jose, how are ya? Hi Rye. Party people. Hello.
Hey,
How are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. The screen just got really, really close to you. Can you see it?
Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm good now. I have to back up.
No, perfect. You're all set. Sorry about that. I started the live and something started twitching and then my screen blacked out and then it made me delete Instagram. So I was having all kinds of issues, but now we're good to go.
No worries.
So this evening, hi everybody, welcome to the next episode of Chatty, which is an opportunity for young entrepreneurs and people doing great, cool things in our community to share about what they're doing, give background and info on why they got into what they're doing, and just share their story. So tonight's guest is Alison Elizabeth. She's absolutely wonderful, and I came across her on Spotify, I believe, listening to her podcast, My Morning Devotional. So every morning she is sharing about the Lord and sharing different verses and just information that resonates with people throughout the day, and is truly such an inspiration and just someone who fills people with joy. I know you've done that for me, and it's really so amazing what you're doing. So I'm so thankful that you were free and able to do this with me tonight, and I'm very excited for you to share your story.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I was super excited to have you reach out.
Sure.
And for everybody who's tuning in, yes, my name is Ali. I do have a devotional podcast, and I'm excited that you found it on Spotify, so that's pretty cool. I know the algorithm kind of picked it up, so that's exciting. But yeah, I started a podcast in June of 2020, devotional podcast, 5-minute prayer every day, Monday through Friday. So it's fun.
Super cool. So I guess you just kind of gave a little background. If you ever at any point see me looking down, just know that I'm taking notes or thinking of other things that I want to bring up to you. Just always make sure that I elaborate on that when we're getting started. So first of all, how did you decide that you wanted to start a podcast? I feel like that's something right now. Podcasts and TikTok are huge right now, especially during quarantine. I feel like that's something that most people have picked up on. But how did you decide of all things that you wanted to start a podcast?
So I originally had a business where I was selling cinnamon buns. I'm a huge baker at heart. I love to bake. And I was doing that. I was really busy with work and with that and with everything. So my actual prayer time, my devotional time started to kind of slip from my fingers. So last October 2019, so the year before, I started an email chain. And so I kind of put that up on my Instagram, if anybody wants to be included in my emails, I'm going to start praying every single day. And to keep me accountable, I'll take you along on the journey with me. And so that started, and I did that for a couple of months. And then about 5 months in, the pandemic hit. And at that point, baking was a lot harder because of the new sanitary laws, and I didn't want to be delivering in the middle of this pandemic. So I stopped baking.
Sure.
And at that point, I was like, let's go and start a podcast. Let's do the same emails, but now let's record them for the people. So the podcast was something that I didn't think that I would ever do. And then here we are 6 months later, and I love it.
Yeah, and I really think it's cool. So every morning when Ellie does her podcast, she'll say what day it is, so how long she's been recording. What was today?
Today was episode 166.
Okay, so she's killing it, but really cool. So she's kind of holding herself accountable, being every day I've done this, because if people listen every day, they're going to be hey, but today's 166. What if you missed it? So right. I feel you saying that is honestly a big accountability thing, and that's one of the first things I noticed, and I was she's been doing this for a while, and to be consistent for 166 days, even with those breaks in between, the weekends, that's a big deal.
Yeah, thank you. The 165 was Friday, and I count them by 5. So this week it's 170 episodes once I get to Friday. And every day I'm I have to keep going. There's no reason to stop. Sometimes, obviously, it's a lot of work, but you get tired. But it's not just me anymore. There's a lot of people out there listening, so gotta keep going.
A lot of people, and like you said, and like I said, just random people will come across you. I was really not out of touch with God by any means, but just, you know, relationship. Like sometimes you feel like you have more time, or I know I personally like will put in more time at some points just because I get busy, but there's no excuse for it. So I was like, okay, I need a new like devotional podcast, something I can listen to while I'm driving, something blah blah. And so then I came across yours, and I was like, it's short and it's sweet, and every day, so super consistent, so I'm able to listen, but also like, you know, kind of get what I need early on or whenever I get to listen to it, but
Mm-hmm.
then can move forward. And I feel like a lot of people really struggle with being consistent with their relationship with God, and it is such an important thing. So you want to kind of talk about your personal relationship with God, or like why this became such a big thing for you and you felt that you needed to do this and maybe were called to do so?
Yeah, of course. So I grew up Catholic all of my life. I was a devout Catholic. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't say devout, and I think that that's kind of how it all came about. I
Mm-hmm.
knew God and I had a relationship with Him, but I wasn't extremely close to Him. Right? I would pray
Sure.
at night sometimes, and sometimes I would go, weeks without prayer, months without prayer.
Sure.
And then I had like a really hard season in life with my family. You as you get older, and if my parents didn't dedicate time to church, much less did we as their children. So it was really hard to connect at that time. And some things happened where we grew up, and at that point I was on my own. My mom had moved out of state. My dad wasn't really too much in the picture, and so I got to this place where I was alone and sad, really, really sad. And so I was driving down, I was driving my car, and I remember the words really, really audible, come to my home. And I knew that it was a tug from Jesus. And I found a church. I got plugged in, and this was in 2016. And
Mm-hmm.
I worked real hard there. I got to know a lot of people, and then my relationship started to foster. And with that, I just felt the call of just staying close to Him. This wasn't always like, you're going to be a minister or you're going to start a ministry or anything like that. It really wasn't like that. It was your life with Jesus is so much better. So just don't forget that. And so when I became really busy with my business, and
Right.
I felt myself slipping, I was reminded your life with Jesus is so much better. So, like, your prayer time is more important than any business or time scrolling on the internet or anything that you can be doing. So, I kept myself accountable with the prayers, and it's helped. It's helped me, and it seems to be helping other people. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Good for you. And the thing is a lot of times it takes something to happen, even if it does come to hitting rock bottom, for you to really realize you need to make a change. And, you know, Jesus is the answer. So I think that that's so cool. And like I said, for me, this was really cool and like something I could relate to because it's very important to me. My parents are Methodist, but we've grown up going to church and all these different things. And through college, I was like trying to find a place, but I feel like I definitely fell off, just wasn't as consistent. And now, like, we'll watch it on TV sometimes, but just like with everything not being open. And I was living abroad for a while too, so I'd go, but I know some Spanish, but it was in Spanish and I don't speak fluent, it was just hard. So just learning and trying to find that connection and meeting the right people. I'm very blessed to have like good friends from like growing up and, through church and everything. But I definitely am in a place where I need to find that space again for myself as well.
Yeah, so this year has been really hard, I think, for everybody.
Yeah.
And excuse my dog if you can hear him.
Oh, it's okay. Don't
Um,
worry.
it's been a hard year for a lot of people. My church is like a mega church in Miami, and they had been closed for months. I think like as of recent, we started reopening, and even at that, I'm still tuning in online because I don't really
Yeah.
want to be around too many people. It's a mega church. It's like 5,000 people on a Sunday, so it's a lot of people.
That's
And
huge. Yeah.
yeah, and it's been a hard year. So tuning on online has been the answer for a lot of people for some time now, and
Sure.
it's easy to fall off. So, and I think he understands that, which is another reason why I really haven't, fallen off, because it's so important to stay consistent, because those 5 minutes, just carving out 5 minutes is so much better than just like falling off completely.
Totally.
And that's how I've kind of, seen it. So as long as I'm staying consistent and I'm praying every single day, no matter what happens in the world, if we, go back to church in person or not anytime soon,
Yep.
the word is what the church really is, right? We, the people, are the capital C, the church. And our job is to just get in the word every day. So it's just
No.
been the thing.
Yeah, no, I agree entirely. And it's evident and clear that you are all about building community and bringing people together. And that is so important, especially in a time of so much like turmoil and lack of control and just like the place that the world is in right now. It's scary, and we really have control of very little. And hopefully within the next couple months and with the inauguration, like things are going to change. But still, it's scary. We don't know what's going to happen. So we need people like you doing what you're doing. I think it's so important. And huge, especially to have started it during the pandemic and knowing people need that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited for this year. I think that it's only going to continue to grow from here.
For sure.
Yeah, God has really changed my heart. At first, it was just, a podcast for myself, and then now, like, well, this is what I want to do forever, for the foreseeable future. I can't see, a world where my morning devotional doesn't exist anymore, and I'm so happy and honored that He gave me that. Honestly, I was really nervous because, again, I mean, I didn't grow up in church, and this is not something that I always knew, and then for Him to have given me the platform to do so. I mean, what else can I say? But I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna do the best that I can with it.
No, for sure. And like, it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's like coming from your heart, and it's special, and like you said, He placed it on your heart, and it's something a lot of people benefit from. So I think it's incredible.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you said before that your podcasts are short. They're 5 minutes, and I listen all the time. So 5 minutes. How did you kind of decide on the time frame and what you were going to set for how long you were going to make the podcast? I mean, I guess if you do it daily, you kind of have to make it a little shorter, but.
Yeah, so it started off with emails. And so, and I really only do a verse, 2 verses, sometimes a story, and really it's what I get out of it in that moment. And so it doesn't really go on for too long. I think like the longest episode I have was 7 minutes, and really I still like introduce myself in the beginning. So it's a nice, short, sweet verse. I really thought that, again, it was for people who are busy. I'm busy, and everybody's busy. Everybody has something, and always, the excuse for not finding prayer time is that I'm so busy and I don't have time.
Right.
And I knew that that was what I was telling myself, and that's what a lot of people tell themselves too. And I get it because, again, we all have lives. So the idea behind the 5 minutes was, your 5-minute daily dose of heaven. That's what I kind of gave its little ring, and that's what I kind of stuck with. And we read a verse. It's a little bit of a breakdown of what I got out of it, and then prayer time. So short, sweet, to the point, and finding 5 minutes to get along with God. I think that it's changed my life, and I know it's going to change other people's lives. So that's why I kind of kept it to that. And I think that a lot of people kind of appreciate that too, because it's bite size. You can just go on there, listen to one, listen to 2 sometimes, and then just go on with your day. Continue to play worship music and get in the mood for the day ahead of you.
No, I agree. And I think God's really cool because a lot of times you'll listen to a song or a podcast or something, and it's exactly what you need to hear. So I feel like the more that you're listening, especially when you get into it daily, like you're doing it daily, I think that it's so special and important, and people have the opportunity, especially if they're listening all the time, to be able to be like, that's what I needed. Like, I needed to hear that. Like, and for some reason that was on your heart for your listeners to then connect with you and with God. So that's like such a big deal.
Yeah, it's been, I guess the most surreal part is when someone will message me after and be like, hey, that's exactly what I needed to hear today. Thank you so much. And honestly, I'm like, well, I'm just like the vessel, when I pray and I get those words, it's really what I felt in the moment. But obviously, I'm feeding them from somewhere, right? He's feeding me spiritually that way when I read the verses, and He has a way to speak to people in other parts of the world, essentially.
Yes, ma'am.
With the words that I'm feeling, and I don't even realize in the moment.
No, I think, yeah, so cool. Someone just said below, I love your podcast. I listen to them every day on my morning walks, about 5 to 6 a day.
Aww.
So must be catching up.
Thank you. I'm so happy that you guys are tuning in.
Yeah, this is awesome. So cool. So how do you decide on what you're going to talk about, or how do you kind of choose what verses? Do things just kind of come to you, or you plan out your week? How does that work?
So sometimes it's day of. So you'll notice that my podcast either goes live at 5 in the morning or 8 in the morning. And it just depends. If it's out by 5 a.m., it's because I stayed up late that night and it was just in my spirit to record it beforehand and kind of post it the night before. And then most of the times it comes out by 8 a.m. I try to wake up by 6, and at that point, I kind of feel, where am I spiritually? Where am I in the world? And what's going on with the world? And sometimes I miss what's going on in the world. Like today, I really wish I would have highlighted, Martin Luther King, but I didn't because it kind of just slipped my head this morning. So honestly, they come day of, and that's poor planning. But I do have plans this year to do something a little bit different, which again, these were always my prayers that I've broadcasted to the world. And I'm kind of thinking that, moving forward into this year, we'll kind of chunk the Bible together. So I'm thinking of maybe doing like a study on just Proverbs or a study on like some of the apostles and kind of dissecting them little by little to give people more or less like an idea of what we're going to read. So if we're going to read one book together, you can kind of read it, in advance and then come to the show the next day and say, okay, this is what I kind of got from that. And this is what you got from that, and kind of like compare notes essentially. But praying together through one book together. So that's what I'm kind of thinking that I'm going to do this year. One, to make it easier for the reader or the listener in this case, so you guys know what's coming up next. And two, kind of just to help structure me on this end, prepping for the devotionals.
I think that's a really good idea. Because a lot of people have a really hard time understanding the Bible, especially if they're not like reading the right version. I can relate on that level for sure. For Christmas, my mom just gave my siblings and I and my dad like a Bible, but it's like only the New Testament for us to like go back and like she gave us each a different color highlighter just to read it. I actually haven't started it yet, which is bad. I'm going to start tomorrow morning. You're motivating me to wake up at 6 a.m. because I've been trying and it has not really happened too well yet. But yeah, just like, it's so important, and I feel like understanding it and having someone else kind of break it down for you in a way that you can is really important, because I think when a lot of people go in to try and read it or understand it, they're thrown off and kind of like stop because it's so confusing. If you're not reading the right version that makes sense. It's like Shakespearean, it's just the language is hard to get.
If you're reading like the King James Version, even I read the Bible before, it's almost impossible to understand. But there are different versions for that reason, and sometimes it's easy to read one verse, not understand it, and kind of give up. And I guess the encouragement behind that is that you can always find another version of the same verse and kind of see if it speaks to you in a different way. But yeah, the idea behind doing it in more of a chunk book version, is to help you understand it, or because I'm still reading this, on my end. To understand it in more of a book format. So reading it like a story, rather than just little bite sizes again. And we'll still scatter that. Yeah, I'll still scatter that here and there because I think they're important, right? Finding the value from one verse itself and how God can speak through us through just one verse. And then also how he speaks through us through the story of him and his life. So I'm excited for that, to see how that goes.
No, I think that will help so many people understand on a much better level.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think that is really, really good. So for anyone that's interested in starting a podcast, I feel like there are different things you need to learn. You can kind of just buy your mic and get started, record and post. I feel like it's not too hard to get stuff all the time on like Spotify, Apple Music and everything, or the podcast app. But what do you use to record, and how is your space set up?
Yeah, so I'm in my space right now. I'll show you. Essentially, I use this right here.
Okay. Awesome.
So this is my mic. I use my Yeti, and I got this on Amazon. It's my baby, and she's like $100. So it's a little bit of an investment, but audio is the number one thing with podcasting. So if you're really seriously thinking about starting a podcast, then my suggestion is audio. So that's what you would invest in. I have this thing, which I can't tell the difference when I use it or when I don't use it. I lost you there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm good? Okay. So sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I record wherever I am if I'm on vacation. So I don't really, it's not necessary. So this is like extravagant. Yeah. And then I have these, and these, my sister bought them for my birthday, and they're pretty cool. Yeah. So all you need is a pair of headphones and a mic and a laptop. I use a Mac. I would suggest the Mac because all you need is GarageBand, and then you need some music. So I went onto Fiverr, which is this website for creatives, and you can kind of outsource their work. And if you look up podcast music on Fiverr, then it's pretty easy. You just go on there, find someone, you kind of tell them what you're looking for, and then I recorded my intro and my outro, the overlay, the actual words, sent it to the creative, and he put together the music. You kind of walk through it, talk through it, and if you like it, then done deal. So it's pretty easy to do all of that. It's just a couple different steps you kind of knock out, and then you put together the show. And yeah, it's pretty, at that point, it's really about staying consistent, with podcasting and finding the schedule that kind of works with you. Again, with me, it's a little bit different because I produce one every single day. But again, I'm only producing 5 minutes every single day. So the platform itself, I use Buzzsprout, and you can
What's
use
it called?
Buzzsprout. Buzzs, yeah, Buzzsprout. So it's this website. It's essentially your hoster. Hey, Maury. It's essentially the hosting provider. So essentially, you would sign up with something like that, like Anchor or like, again, Buzzsprout. You upload your show onto that platform, and that platform spits it out to Spotify, Apple, and the others.
Okay. Yeah. I used I started a podcast and I have a couple episodes, but honestly, there were so many. It was just like excited about it starting and used like podcast.com, or I don't even know exactly. And it was good, but I got so busy that the consistency wasn't there yet. And in the future, to start up in a couple weeks, but that's like so important. I won't be doing daily, but it's hard. You really do have to find the time. So I think that's huge of you that you're able to do that and like have made it so consistent, because that's what makes you successful.
Thank you. Yeah, well, good luck with yours. It's really exciting, honestly. Once you get in the groove of it and you have your schedule, it's not so hard. So thank you, yes. But the success comes from being consistent, because then your audience knows when to expect you, to be on. I had like an issue with Apple last week where it wasn't uploading, and I had someone reach out like, hey, are you recording this week? I'm like, I am. Here's the actual link, and I could send them the link to Buzzsprout. But yeah, do it. Stay consistent. You're gonna find a niche of people who are gonna love what you do, and those are the people you're gonna serve.
Awesome. Yeah. So what did you say with the microphone? And you said audio. Is audio, what were you meaning you have to invest in that? Is that something separate other than the microphone? That's like a personal meeting.
No, I'm just saying like audio is king, so you have to invest in a good mic.
Gotcha. Sometimes there's like, those little extra packages and so many different things. So I wasn't sure if that was like something separate.
No, just the mic. I see you say Maury. We're so proud of Alison because this is success for everything. Yes, I love Maury. She's my mentor. She was actually my mentor in church. She taught me or kind of molded me into the person that I am today spiritually. And
that's amazing.
Maury, I owe everything to you. I love you so much.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so glad you were able to tune in, Maury. We're glad to have you. Very cool. So when I was listening to your podcast, this was a little bit ago, but you said something about being like the 84th rated
82nd
devotional podcast or something of the sort, like in the country, or like on, you know what I'm talking about, on Spotify. Do you want to like share with everyone what that's about? And I didn't just say it right, so you might want to.
Yeah, I'll piggyback. So at the end of the year, every single year in Spotify, where everybody's posting like their
top songs and stuff,
their top thing, they're wrapped. So Podcast creates a wrapped 2020 for podcasters, and it kind of gives you your stats broken down. And the podcast was the 82nd most popular in religion and society. Yeah, religion and spirituality. So I almost cried that day when I saw that. I was like, what? That's like top 100 in religion. But then Spotify itself, it's super exciting. Spotify itself only shows on their end top 50. So I haven't broken that chart yet, so I haven't seen that. But I'm hopeful that this is the year. Yeah,
that's what 2021
I'm hopeful that this year. But it's growing. I mean, obviously the downloads continue to grow, which is exciting, and I'm hopeful this year is going to be the year that I make top 50 in the category. So I'm excited.
Top 10, girlfriend. I mean, seriously, that is so cool. Especially the thing that impresses me so much with most of the people that I've interviewed on Chat E over the course of quarantine, a lot of people have started their businesses within the last year. Like, thinking about it, COVID started almost a year ago.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people have been working really hard to do their thing. And so think about it too. The fact that you're number 82 in less than a year, not even 9 months yet.
It's
That's a really
exciting.
big deal.
You go on to, the top 50, and it's churches like, I don't know, like Elevation Church is up
Right.
there.
Huge,
Joel
amazing.
Osteen is up there. I'm like, I'm not Joel Osteen. I'm not Elevation Church. It's crazy.
Right. And
So
they've been at this
for
forever.
Yeah, and for it to be 82nd most popular, I mean, it kind of just proves that people need to listen to the word of God at least 5 minutes a day, and if
Yep.
it's working, it's working, So that's exciting. But yeah, I mean, I was honestly blown away. I really didn't see that coming, but it would be exciting top 10 this year, top 50 at
I'm ready
least.
for it. I'm ready for it. I'll listen every day and I'll give you those 5 stars all the time.
Thank you.
Of course. So what other feedback have you gotten from people, like from your listeners, since you've started? Because I know that that's a big thing, like on the podcast app or Spotify, all of them, you can like rate the podcast that you're listening to. And I read reviews about stuff all the time. So what kind of feedback have you gotten from your listeners?
Yeah, so I actually, the bulk of my listeners comes from Spotify, which is pretty cool. On Spotify, I officially have more followers on Spotify than this Instagram and my personal Instagram combined, which is so bizarre to me. I have almost,
Right.
yeah, I have 9,000 listeners on Spotify. So individual
Cool.
devices, individual accounts, which is
You realize
crazy.
that's a lot, right?
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I think that's a lot, at least with like the numbers, especially for it only being 6 months old. And especially since like, this Instagram only has 800 people
Right.
following, and like my personal Instagram, I have my friends from college and
Sure.
whatnot. So it's not like, I have this huge influence of people. So that's
Right.
definitely shows that Spotify picked it up in the algorithm, which is exciting. And then the biggest feedback really that I've gotten, which is incredible, is the amount of people from around the world that are listening. So I have a huge population. Yeah, I have a huge population in the Philippines. It's my second biggest country, which is really exciting. So
That is super cool.
yeah, and they reach out a lot, which I love. I love when people reach out and say, hey, and if they have prayer requests, I like to listen to the prayer requests, obviously. And then, that obviously stays between me and that person. But, to have someone confide their prayers to me, it's an honor to carry, and obviously go to prayer with that person. So that has been a blessing. Being able to connect again with people from around the world is a blessing. And people from all ages. I've had people who are in their later, married with families, and then I've had even later than that, like in their 60s, and
Sure, yeah.
and I have people who are in their 20s. So it's an array of people who are listening, which is exciting.
That's so cool. And seriously, God affects you at all walks of life,
Mm-hmm.
People start their relationship with God and their walk with him at all different points in their life. So, and you really, like, you're doing a good thing, Allie, because a lot of people need you. And I think it can be really scary to go to someone, especially when like things in life are scary, to go to someone and ask them to pray for you.
Thank you.
But
Yeah.
like, it feels really good to have that person.
It does. I mean, at first I was like, oh, again, this all started, and I'm like, I don't think I'm worthy to do any of this. I'm nobody, but at the same time, because he called me, I'm embracing it. And when those prayer requests comes, it's time to pray. That's what he's called to do. So it's time to pray for those people, and that's exciting to do.
No, it is. It is. It's amazing. So go you. Keep it up. Don't ever stop. Like you said, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. So you said that before, and you say this on your podcast too, before you were doing this, you were baking. So what do you do? Anything? You do your podcast during the day, but are you working somewhere separate? Are you still like baking part of the time, or this is not your full-time job at the moment?
No. So baking wasn't my full-time job either. My full-time job, I'm a digital marketer. So I work for a digital marketing company, and what we do, or what I do, is oversee 35 clients is what I have right now. Something between 35 and 40, depending on the month. And we oversee their strategy. So their website design, their spend online. So how much money are we spending on ads, what their return on investment is, blah, blah, blah. So all this marketing talk. And all of my clients are in the home service industry. So they're all plumbing and HVAC contractors. Mm-hmm. It's nice to work with, different people and to see different businesses come to life. So again, I have that business mind. I love it. And that's what I do in my day job, and I still do that. That's my 9 to 5. And then with baking, I would do that on the weekends again, and I would deliver on Saturdays. And Sequoia was the name of the company, and all of that
What
kind
was
of
it?
had Sequoia,
Sequoia.
like the tree.
Uh-huh.
So that business again had to be kind of like not closed down, but the Instagram is still out there, and I transformed that website into the new My Morning Devotional website just because this podcast was something that was growing so fast that I kind of had to put everything else kind of at bay for. And mind you, I haven't made $1 really off of this podcast. I just started monetizing it by writing my first workbook, but again, this wasn't to monetize. This is obviously out of like my desperation for prayer. And again, back to business. I stopped baking. I'm still working full time, doing this on my obviously on my off time, and then I still love to bake. So I do have a passion for baking cookies, and like those cute sugar cookies, you know, those videos that are like memorized, they like mesmerize you while you're watching them kind of frost. I don't know if you come across that hole on Instagram, but that is another hobby of mine, and I do that for fun.
Well, girl, I will order some cookies or some cinnamon buns any day. That's my favorite type of thing. Oh my gosh. That's super cool. You were making specialty cinnamon buns, or is that what you said?
Yeah, so my business was all specialty cinnamon buns. The normal cinnamon bun, I did one out of chocolate. I did one guava and cheese. Down here in Miami and Cuban, that's like a thing, guayaba and queso, and that's all we would do. So guava and cheese, chocolate, cinnamon, trying to think, honey for like a honey bun, a natural honey bun, and a s'mores.
Girlfriend, oh my gosh.
I mean, it was awesome. I really had this plan to open a bakery. I wanted to open a bakery and for it to be like the next like cupcake shop, but it was going to be, you know, there was cupcakes and then there was a donut shop, and then this was going to be like the next big thing, like cinnamon rolls, which is cool, but who knows,
You know,
maybe in the future.
yeah, no one's stopping you. That would be super sick. I think, yeah, totally take advantage of it. It's a really good idea. Everyone loves cinnamon buns. They have something like that in Maryland. It's like Cinnaholic, but
Yeah, that's like the biggest like competition that I saw when I was doing my research. It's cool.
yeah, I don't love it though. I mean, honestly, I'd be totally down to try a new place. It's like good, but not obsessed with it. So I feel like there's not a lot of places like that. So can definitely that's a really good idea. And especially if you have a passion for it, that's the way to do it. You're a woman of many talents, it's clear.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. So clearly, like I said, woman of many talents, you have a lot of different things going on. Do you have a hope to eventually monetize this in means of being able to, I guess you're doing it 5 minutes a day, but somehow make podcasting and doing different digital products maybe or whatnot like a full-time thing for you, so you're not doing the 9 to 5?
Yeah, so my goal would be to leave the 9 to 5 eventually to do this. And again, at the beginning, I wanted to do a bakery, and now, like I said, like I can't see a future without my morning devotional. So I do have a plan to kind of grow this into a platform really where you can find different resources and workbooks. So I released my first workbook, or I announced, let me take that back. I announced my first workbook January 1st, and they are on pre-sale now, and they will go live or they will be shipped in early March, and that's exciting. It's a 21-day devotional series, and I plan on doing 4 books this year if I can, one per quarter, and then eventually I would love for it to become a community, essentially an online community where you can buy different workbooks, you can do different devotional studies, like a devotional for people, like 14 days if you suffer from anxiety, 7-day prayer for those with depression, like different things to kind of help you redo over and over again to kind of help you break that cycle and really dive into that. So that's one goal.
That's awesome.
Another goal is to have like stickers and cute little things like a Bible bookmark, things like that in the shop. Again, those are all like low ticket items if we want to talk like market wise. So it's not really something that's going to free me from the 9 to 5. But if I can grow it and scale it to where, there are a lot of people listening and where there are a lot of people reading the books that I write, then maybe, just maybe, I can leave the job and just do this.
Yeah, you'll be able to.
And just create content all day long, and kind of bring other people along with me.
Yep. You dream it, you can make it happen.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal. It'll happen. That's awesome. And I think diving into that mental health stuff, like the anxiety, depression, that stuff's really important. And it
Yeah.
affects so many people. So for you to already be thinking about that and like forming community and finding different ways that you can connect with people who are dealing with different things, I think is really huge. And that shows a lot about you as a person. Clearly you care a lot, which is great. But people need that, you know? And like we said, there's always someone in life, just like you said, Maury, was that her name, is your mentor?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You'll be that person for people too.
Yeah. I mean, that would be nice. So yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
To have that continue to grow, and then yeah, partner alongside other people, other women. There's a lot of people going through a lot of things, and the Word of God
Especially right now.
Yeah, and the Word of God has the answer to everything or all of the questions that we seek. Right? He created us. He made us curious. He made us the way we are, and He knows exactly what we're going through. He knows where we've been and where we'll go, and our answers are in that book. But a lot of people don't understand how to find the answers, so the idea behind the books is to kind of help guide you into finding those answers.
Nope, I think that it's wonderful. I think it'll do good things. And truly, I think my morning Devo bakery could be kind of cool. You could definitely find a way. Shop. With cinnamon buns, I mean, seriously, you could find a way to combine the two for sure. Rent a space and just kind of start baking. And especially the thing that's cool too is obviously everything's expensive, but because you like to bake, you don't even have to hire too many people at first. And you're also the one doing the Devo.
Yeah.
You know, you do. You need the support, of course, but you know what I mean. I feel like that there's like a lot that you could bring forth, and that could be really cool.
That's cool. I'm gonna write that down. It's a good idea. Kind of combining the two.
Never underestimate yourself, girlfriend. I know you're not, but you got this. And just dream so big, it's almost crazy. That's how I do. My list changes every day. It's insane. Oh my gosh, so crazy. But you know,
all of us big dreamers.
Oh my gosh, we got to stick together. This is the type of community it's best to form, because when you surround yourself with people that are similar, you get further, and then you can pump each other up. So It's good. So Ellie, what you're doing is awesome. I hope everyone has learned so much from her, because I know I have, and I will post about my morning Devo and everything after we're finished. So where can people find you when looking for you on social media or your website or anything of the sort?
Yeah, so you can find me here on my Instagram at mymorningdevo, or obviously through the podcast, which would be on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite show. And then you can also find me on my website, so www.mymorningdevo.co, and that's pretty much the 3 outlets right now. I'm working on a TikTok, but we'll see how far that goes.
Oh yeah, seriously, it's popping off. I cannot even tell you how many things I purchased or learned from TikTok.
I know. I'm thinking of just taking my audio that already exists and just put it on there. So you can listen to the show, anything new. But for anyone who's on TikTok and doesn't know us, it'd be pretty cool.
Totally, just have to, same kind of thing. Consistency is key, and you really just have to get one video to like freak out, and then people follow you, and then all of a sudden it just continues. So
and then everybody's listening.
Exactly, yeah, and then your 9,000 turns into 36,000.
Yeah.
Just like on TikTok, you can gain that many followers overnight, so you could do the same, so it'd be super cool. Last kind of thing before we kind of close out, but do you have any tips for people that are either like hesitant about starting their own business, or just following a dream, maybe wanting to start a podcast, just anything of the sort?
Yeah, so for anybody who wants to start a business, do it. I always say do it. But before you just do it, learn about your numbers. As long as you know your numbers, you'll be successful. And by that, I mean, like, for Alina, I was helping family and friends, and I would bake for them, and I would literally sell my cakes at cost, and I wouldn't make $1. And so it's a lot of time, and just like any other job, you should be, getting paid for your labor. So make sure you know how much your product costs before you start a business. So that's my one advice for all business owners. And then for anyone who is more on the content creating side, content creation takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and you won't see the fruit of your labor until later on. Again, I produced a show every single day for 7 months before I saw a penny. And I'm still not making, obviously, enough money to leave my job. So this is a passion project. So if you're a content creator, make sure you're doing it because you're passionate about what you're doing, and you're not seeking fan, like you're not seeking stardom, or you're not seeking, you know, I'm gonna quit tomorrow, I'm gonna go viral on TikTok tomorrow and then I'm out. So that it doesn't really happen for everybody. And so don't go into it with that. Go into it with the with knowing that you're seeking passion first and foremost.
Yep, and that's, I think those are huge, and everyone's passions are so different, but we all have dreams. And I think people tell themselves all the time, like, hey, I can't do it, this isn't going to work because it's hard, there's competition. There is, but just make it yours and you can do it. But like you said too, understanding that you're not going to make money overnight. That's just kind of how it works. So like, you know, it might take a year, it could take 2 for some people, but then you could be making more money than you ever imagined, being able to travel and just experience life because you're so successful doing what you love. So it's just about that consistency, and you're doing a really good job with that and exhibiting that. And I think that was really awesome for listeners to hear that you're doing this every day too, to like be like, hey, this is real deal.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I mean, whatever you do, stay consistent and you will be successful.
Exactly. Well, Ali, thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure. Everyone go check her out. And like I said, I will post all of the links and ways to connect with her on the chat. And I hope you have an amazing night, and God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, you're welcome.
Bye.
See you later.